Welcome, audiophile and cinephiles alike, to the Beneflicks podcast, the show where we are reaping the Beneflicks one movie at a time. I'm Liz.
I'm Tyson.
Do that over again.
I'm Tyson.
One more time.
I'm Tyson.
How are you doing tonight, man?
Good, I'm so cozy right now.
You are. You're in,
I'm all bundled up.
maybe even in a sarcophagus, if you
Yeah,
will,
actually that's a good little tie-in.
as I see like bed bugs.
So Lee Cronin's The Mummy's actually.
Stop. Stop.
Oh, oh,
I
oh.
want to give the audience some time to guess what it is we're talking about, dude. As if the podcast we have exclusively on YouTube, I assume, is for the visually impaired, so they don't know what they're clicking on.
But like they have like the vibe that they want to watch us.
But you're doing good.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking doing this.
I don't know. I don't know how to call. I was doing good yesterday. I'm doing good today. We recorded our last episode
We
yesterday.
did. We did.
Not much change in a 24-hour period.
The 8 hour shift you took was
The
pretty mundane, though.
8-hour shift pretty mundane. Tomorrow's 8-hour shift's gonna be pretty mundane. It's all
Okay,
mundanity.
we won't get lost
Wait,
in the gray.
but
I'm waiting.
you were productive today.
I
I have a
was.
question for you.
Hold on. We're out of order. You're like links in the description.
I have a
Okay,
question.
do you want me to talk about my productivity, or do you want to ask
It
me?
has to do with your productivity.
Okay,
I wasn't skipping.
okay, okay. Go
Um,
go go for it, friend.
well, I was just gonna ask, do you measure?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think a lot of people, especially those who are trying to find themselves more, what's the word? I guess like finding themselves more into the algorithm, trying to put themselves and supplant themselves in more people's eyes,
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes focus on output.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, majority of your content is largely part short form. Um,
Yeah.
do you think you'll ever make the switch to full long form content, or is short form content always going to be kind of core to your style? Because I know that you've talked to me before
Mm-hmm.
about how you thoroughly enjoy long form content, and that's why you enjoy doing YouTube so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
So what's like
Um.
your dynamic with that? Because you've made
It's a really
mm,
fun.
mainly short term content today, to best of my knowledge.
Yeah. I guess the best and most opportune answer I can give to you that feels closest to me would be like, and I'll elaborate, but like, ask me that when I move out, because
Mm,
everything I do is sort of tailored around how it best maximizes the videos that I can give people, but also the ones that are most incumbent to what I can make in the household I live in, which is a very rowdy, nocturnal, dysfunctional mess of a family. And for me, like I have always said, that like short form content helps me get my fix for the day, where like it's a little drop of acid versus like the full thing in my veins when it comes to long form that gives me the true fix, if that makes
mm,
any sense.
yeah, it does.
And it does suck because like I've thought about, I mean, I did like a couple videos ago around the time we had released our muscular cinema video or episode. I made like a short video on a long form shorter version of what I do on YouTube, because typically the shit runs around like 30-45 minutes. It was like a 15-minute video with the promise of like wanting to do that more for the sake of like elaboration. But if I'm being like so honest with you, Tyson, like I the environment in my home strips me of like the life that I have.
Mm,
That so much is, by the time I get home, or not even when I get home, when I'm home, I am just depleted. And
mm,
it's like, for example, like I had just recently made a video doing like a little movie haul. That was like a spurt of ADHD energy and like a power and a passion that I felt to do it. Um, but in it, like I sort of talked about, like I've been going through the weeds of it, like emotionally and mentally, like stuff within my own self and my life, everything that went on with the fire and my house almost burning down. Like it really fucked me up, and it felt like I wanted to make quite a few videos, longer form, some more horror shit, some movie reviews, some smaller stuff. But like for 45 minutes, I have to give someone a version of myself, which is a slight transparency. Does that make any sense? Because it's like what I mean by that is I am authentic to my audience, but you still have to plate it to your audience, you know? And
Mm,
it's that plating of like a lot of times I just don't wanna verbally talk about the shit that I feel because it feels like an echo chamber, and that, like, is just me talking to a camera versus me talking in my head, and
mm,
it's like, a lot of times I don't feel there's a sense of productivity to it, and then I just get, like, really lost in my head, and I'm like, "Well, there's no real fucking point to this because, like, none of this makes me happy," when that is not true at all, you know? I
mm,
wouldn't be doing this for the sake of it being at the end of the day, my head hitting the pillow and being like, "I'm not happy with it."
yeah,
Long form thing to say, when I envision myself moved out, having my own space that is quieter, at a more rhythmic flow that I like, that my partner likes, and whoever else we live with, or if it's just them and I, yeah, I would really like to do because it's also like well, I can record these videos, but it's at, like, 2 in the morning, and by then
mm,
it like, I get fucking depleted, I fall asleep, I wake up at 8, and it's like, I feel like I'm not giving the video the fullest that I should,
yeah.
so it takes longer.
And I imagine too, like, I guess with what we're doing now, it's a bit easier to upkeep the energy when someone else is,
Mm,
like, bouncing off of you,
mhm.
whereas in, a long form story time or a
Y
Reddit video, it's completely just
yeah, but also, like, I think you know more than anyone else that I think a part of why I love doing this is because it isn't my house, you know?
very true.
And it isn't, like, so I can abuse that, it is simply the fact that, like, why I feel so gung ho to just at 2 in the morning do our best scenes of the year lists and record to like 3 or 4 is because like I get an extra sense of energy and drive. And it's like, I mean, the literal form of it is because I can talk. Like I
Sure.
whisper. Like that's the fact of the matter. Like when I do long form, it's nothing but whispering.
True.
And I've come to reckon with that through therapy and through just pure intern interiority is that like I did it because I didn't wanna hear what I didn't want them to hear what I was saying,
Mhm.
you know? And so, like, that was a bit of a roadblock where I was like, "Do I actually really like ASMR, or do I like the fact that they don't hear what I'm saying?" You know?
Mm.
Um, so it's just an awesome opportunity to hear. Because and what I will say is, like, editing and hearing us talk with mics that I've harnessed a bit better of the quality of it is, like hearing my voice is like, "Whoa, I don't even fully remember what this sounded like," because I
Mm.
hear at most this in, like, a 3-minute spurt where I have to, like, enunciate more and project more because I'm trying to catch someone with a hook under, like, a minute and a half,
Mhm.
where this is, like, 45 to an hour and a half of, if you wanna catch it, you can, if not, that's okay,
True.
you know?
Very true.
So, yeah, no, hopefully, but I had a question for you, Buster,
Mhm.
um, as you get pensive. I always wonder, and it hits me especially when I work long shifts. Where the fuck does your mind go when you work? Because we work very different flows where I feel like a lot of my work kind of comes down to like a conveyor belt of like the 90th caramel ribbon crunch, go, go, go. But like, and I guess it's a two-parter. Where does your mind go? And is there a sort of pattern with maybe the art that your mind goes to if it does go somewhere?
Mm.
And maybe what is it that you think about the art specifically?
It's really interesting because when I compare my experience at my same job, just different position when I used to be a floor staff before I got promoted a
Mhm,
year or so back, I used to not daydream, I don't wanna say the right word, but, like, I have always been someone through my youth and as I've gone older to, like I'm very imaginative, like,
mhm,
how a song makes me feel or just if I'm in the car driving for a while, like, my mind goes places, I assume as everyone else's do. But a lot of times it's creating stories and I'll catch like an image in my brain of whatever, and then I'm trying to build it out with, oh, well, what's the story behind that image? And then how would I create this into a plot? And would this work better as a short or a feature? And then that's where a lot of my ideas to this day have came from is just kind of daydreaming and just kind of zoning out and thinking about specific imaginations.
mhm,
Um, and that was very prominent when I was a floor staff because a lot of times you're kind of to yourself, whether you're like at the position that's checking tickets, there's not much interaction going on there, especially if it's slow. So
Yeah.
my brain just jumps to creating stuff in my mind. Or when you're cleaning theaters and you can't listen to music, same thing applies. Like you're just creating images and scenes in your mind. And so I feel like a lot of my creative process was actually like fluctuated through my work, which is really funny to say because I feel like now it's kind of taking away from that. Not in the sense where I don't have the ability to imagine things and do the same sort of mental creation, but now so I think it's a much more I I feel like I talk and chat more because I have the ability to, because 'cause I'm not bound to one location,
Okay.
and so because I'm talking or being sociable, I'm not having to daydream or create my own entertainment, and then at the same time, um, like, that obviously gives me more, like, genuine mental stimulation, but obviously with, like I work full time, 40 hours a week. Oftentimes, it takes up my entire day, so with that being said, it also is kinda taking away from the creative side of myself, so it's a weird dichotomy, but
Mhm.
my mind now, a million different things, friends, uh, I've been very grateful because, a lot of times I'm able to listen to music on our speaker in the back that, like, I can play. So
Okay.
a lot of my mind just goes to what song I wanna hear next or just think about the music I'm playing, and that's
Mhm.
why I always emphasize that music is so crucial to me in the same lane as, like, movies, because I
Mhm.
feel like I spend so much time listening to music. Like, I don't have Spotify, but if I was able to track properly, like, how much time I'll have listened to, it I might be, like, truthfully, like, close to 200,000 minutes by the end of the year, which is
Whoa.
insane. Because my highest I think I've ever gone is, like, close to 50,000, if that.
Do you ever listen to music to go to sleep?
No,
Never?
no. I used to, fall asleep to YouTube videos a lot, but now it's really weird ever since I moved out, don't do it at all. Like, I
That's
just
good though, no?
yeah, I mean, your brain should, be able to get quiet time and whatnot,
Mhm.
but, I used to listen to, YouTube videos or stuff that I was, like, familiar with,
Mhm.
um, not ASMR, stuff like that, like, you told me you have before, but, much more just, like, videos that, like, I already enjoy that I just kinda can leave it as, like, a white noise,
Yeah.
um, but now not at all, no.
Interesting.
I don't know
Yeah.
why.
No, for obvious reasons, I could not be more separate. It's rough. Like there are some nights where I just cannot go to sleep and then I get really frustrated at it. And then I'm really Harry Potter because like now I have guests upstairs in the guest room
Mhm.
and it's so loud. It is odd though because I don't know. Sometimes I don't even I lately have been like watching Minecraft long play form videos, which like very easily is understood that yeah, that's a relaxing thing. Um Funny enough, this is gonna sound odd, but like I used to or like recently I've been watching a lot of like 90s commercials or you can like look up like 90s B-roll footage of like pedestrians. And it
Oh,
like I don't know if it's like the stock footage of it or just the way it looks. It gives my mind like a lot of like peace and at ease.
interesting.
And it's weird because I had this thought, funny enough, today, which I think kind of segues into like kind of maybe the art or the things that we've been thinking about lately. Um, I don't think I've ever once in my life seen a single, if there even exists one, home video that was made for me, you know? Um, like my dad never took anything. He was like struggling when the divorce was going on between my mom and him, and he was driving to LA for work, and my mom is not very tech savvy whatsoever. There's, like, the occasional, like, baby photo here and there, but, like, off of recollection, there's nothing.
I think I'm the same. I think I have one to show you that's actually on YouTube.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, oh, I found it.
Wait, what the f the speed at which you found this too?
You're being videoed.
No fucking way.
What do you have to say? I know. Nothing? Say, oh my gosh. No. You know? I don't know. What about me and Monka, me and Monka? No, I can't say that. Why not? I think Superman is not. You see Superman? Yeah, I got it. Where'd you get it at? Burger King. Burger King? No, you didn't. McDonald's. And I got the golden ticket. I got the golden ticket. Yeah, it goes back. There's this holes.
I need you to stop that right fucking now. Like,
That's like the only home video I think I have of myself.
as you're wearing like a bonnet and like a bib and you wrap yourself back into your sarcophagus, what the actual fuck just transpired?
Willy Wonka.
It, get it from McDonald's. But like, I didn't even. What the fuck? These past two podcast episodes are unveiling things that I never knew about you, whether through anecdotal stories or is that a public video?
Yeah, yeah, that's a public video on YouTube. I think it's legitimately just called Tyson. It's I'm not fucking with you. Yeah, it's literally just called Tyson.
Is
Like
that real?
anyone could find it.
And you found that so quickly? Like
Well, I
that's
liked it. I'm like, I
you're
searched
genuinely like
names.
the Questlove to my Jimmy Fallon as he has the exact like snare drum kick that he needs to. That's fucking crazy. Yeah, no, I mean, no, I don't think there is anything. Again, the only one that I know of is the one that like my stepsister and I made doing the Bean Boozled
Yeah,
challenge.
you talk about that.
But that was like when I was 13, like 12 or 13, like when my parents like gave us permission to do that shit. Like I don't know. It is so interesting. And then, I guess the other thing I was thinking about was that one short film idea I had, picturesque, of
Mhm.
like pictures telling stories that often aren't the case. And just thinking about like stuff like that. But that's that's so crazy. I didn't the public domain Tyson on
Public domain
YouTube.
Tyson, you can find my face.
That's wow. But what about you? What's been some stuff art
Well,
or
what art's been on your mind? Because you said,
I mean, if you want to count like again, a little inside scoop pod. From last episode of this, it's like a 24-hour duration. I mean, you said that I should shout out the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies.
hey, put that in your story.
I did. I love those films. There's only three of them. The fourth one doesn't exist. I hold those films very close. I just think they're also really just fun, well-made movies. Um, yeah, I mean, I was thinking actually, I guess technically today, because I made a video about it, Paddleton, the Mark Duplass
Mm-hmm.
film.
I watched that.
Um, I had to do a presentation for a class, and it's kind of all about the three big stages of making a movie:
Mm-hmm.
pre, pro, and post. And you have to make like a slide presentation documenting the film. And so I was like, okay, what way can I actually make it stimulating for myself? So I chose Blue Jay because none of those stages were done in a conventional sense. There was no script for it. They shot it in Crestline in the same area where Mark Duplass filmed Creep, and like they had like long takes, and so the score then was made after the editor cut it all together. Like just like all these things that kind of aren't necessarily the convention. So I was thinking a lot about like Mark Duplass and like him and his brother pioneering mumblecore, the subgenre of no budget non-actor movies where there is no script, you just kind of go with what your gut feels like. And I don't know, I think like putting that in the lens of the way that art is made now, I think people really do promote in a lot of ways like a sense of spontaneity. Like there's someone on TikTok who literally walks with like a soundboard and like a keyboard, and he walks around New York and literally says, "Hey, do you wanna make a tune?" And like makes some beautiful fucking piece that is off the cuff. And like people always say in the comments like, man, some of the greatest artists will forever just work a 9 to 5 sort of thing. So I've been thinking a lot about like today, especially again, like the spontaneity of art, and just making something and not overthinking it, and Dive Wimpy Kid and 90s stock footage of pedestrians.
The Holy Trinity, the
Uh huh.
Father, Son, and Holy
Uh
Spirit.
huh. But what about you? I heard you wanted to shout a song out if you wanted to, or just anything in general.
Yeah, no. So there is a shout out to well, actually, I wanted to shout out the Olivia Rodrigo song, but that song wasn't
What a
sounding too
bummer.
good.
No, it
Bum
built
me
it built up
out.
fun.
Whatever, dude. My bonnet on. Give The Passioned Ones by Nourished by Time a shot. That's one of my favorite albums of last year. Probably maybe my most listened to of this year. Been
Okay.
on repeat a lot and yada yada yada. Let's talk about Lee Cronin. Oh
Well,
no,
no, no,
fuck,
no, no.
wait,
We
fuck,
have an
fuck,
email,
fuck,
but I
fuck,
also
fuck,
I
fuck.
also had a question though.
What's up?
When was the last time, and if it ever has happened to you, that a specific, like a very specific detail from a piece of art, like shot into your brain? It wasn't like pre-med, like it just happened. Has that ever happened for you? I'll give you an example. Um, for some reason, last day before yesterday, I was about to fall asleep, and the iconic image of the Blair Witch Project of him in the corner like came into my head for some reason, like unprompted. There was nothing that led to it, and it just like struck me. And then I thought about it for a few minutes. Has that ever happened to you? A and B. Can you recollect anything off the top of your head of something like that that's happened at all recently?
Part one, yes. Part two, no.
Okay.
I don't think I it's definitely a thing that happens, especially I have very much experiences like right before bed. I like will picture something. I'm like, oh, da, da, da,
Hmm.
but I feel like it especially happens with melody. Like just some days I'll just, I mean, anyone at work knows. Like I'll sing out loud at work. I'm a singer,
Hmm.
and anyone at work knows that I kind of just the whole joke is like I'm a soundboard. Like just every day I just choose a new sound and a new like melody to
That's
just
so
repeat
funny.
over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Almost like a stem, but I would say like less like bow, 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 bow. More so like just it's if it's with me, it's with the building for that day for sure. But I couldn't give you an example. I mean, like I said, I think it's more common with melody at work. I'll just song will pop in my head out of nowhere, and I'll just let it ring out, and then suddenly it'll change midday. But for movies, it's usually images, and I do agree it's usually right before bed because I'm just like brain fried, not really thinking about anything. Just whoop,
If it's with me, it's in the building. That's crazy.
if it's with me, it's in the building. It's true.
No, that I think we work in much more symmetrical ways than maybe we even maybe we even realize, like in parallel lines. Because at work, I guess the thing that people would say is like I'm the emoter. Like I just like randomly pop an emo.
Hmm.
But then like it is so weird, and I think there's probably a very scientific lineage to get to where it is in my brain. There's not a single song in this world that I know lyric from lyric one to lyric whatever it ends on.
Hmm.
But like when I'm hitting that particular flow state at work, there's like a thousand song, like one lyric from like a thousand songs that come into my head, you know?
Hmm.
And people are like, how the fuck do you know all that? And I just like, I tell them like, I don't. I just like, it comes to me. So interesting. Well,
You have that magic power.
no, I guess I do. And thinking about, situations and things that come into your mind or are very memorable, I wanted to segue into our email today that comes to us. I guess I'm gonna spill the beans.
You spoiled it.
I did spoil it, and I'm very sorry, Kimmy, to my partner, my loving partner. In the episode prior, we were going to. Well, I'm actually apologizing twice. For one, we were going to use your email as the focal point of last episode, which was about Ryan Gosling, First Man, and Project Hail Mary. But we got a live caller. Things got hairy, and
We got tackled.
we did. No, we 100% did. And it was sweaty, it was gross, it was animalistic, and I'm very sorry. I don't wanna put you through that. But then also, I really wanted to surprise Tyson and be like, "Hey, yeah, KG." But no, and I said Kimmy. I'm so sorry, babe. But thank you so much, my love, for not interviewing us, messaging us in, but giving us a kind of like indirect interview because I've been really thinking about your question. So much so that I kind of jotted some stuff down, but I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let me read what Kimmy sent. Howdy, Beneflicks gang. Long-time listener, first-time writer. What is the first movie you remember walking out of the theater feeling impacted by? Stoked to hear your answers. Thank you. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
You go first,
Are
please.
you sure? Okay. Because sometimes when you say drawn out answers, you
I'm just
stop.
I'm trying to think of I have one, but I'm trying to think of one before that because I know
Okay.
that's probably one before it.
So when I was thinking about the answers that I could give, I wanted to maybe also give a couple that I don't even think I've even told you because, there's like the easy ones, right? The long legs that we went to, the heat, and we've talked about those already. So I split this answer up into two different categories for me. One, which is the situation surrounding the movie influenced my experience watching it and coming out of it, and there's a couple on that, and then one where the movie itself really did hit me.
Mhm.
So the first like big answer I have actually kind of comes from back in like 2013. So there's a couple movies from like 2012 to 2014 where things were really getting intense with custody issues with my mom and dad. And I was spending a lot more time at my mom's house than I was my dad. And I'll never forget, this was the very end of April of 2013 when Iron Man 3 was coming out. Now, what is pretty crucial to this story is my parents, well, my dad and my stepmom took my stepmom's kids and me to New York. At New York, in Times Square, they're promoting nothing but Iron Man 3. I'm like 10 years old at the time. This shit is in my veins. I'm like, oh my fucking God. Um, so basically, right after that trip, I had to go see my mom. And this was the Thursday and then into the weekend that they're showing Iron Man 3. I guess maybe I don't remember if I was like, "Hey, please don't go see this," or in my head I assumed they would wait. But basically, they had tried calling my mom to be like, "Hey, we're on our way to the theater. Can we just swing by, pick my son up, we'll go to the movie, and we'll drop him back?" My mom was like, "Absolutely not. Absolutely not." And she basically knocks on my door, like phone onto her chest, and she's like, "Hey, honey, I have your dad on the line. I know you're gonna get upset. They're gonna go to go see the new." She said the new superhero movie, and I automatically knew. Um, and it was her wording that I look back on, and I'm like, she was 100% like saying it in the way that she was saying it to really paint them out to be bad. And I get the phone, and I'm like, "You guys are not gonna go see Iron Man 3, are you?" And I remember I was hearing like the noise of the car driving, and that was like an answer already in my head. And my dad was driving, my stepmom was in the front seat, 2 step siblings, and then what really set it off for me was then my dad was like, "I promise we'll make it up." And what I now know is my dad didn't wanna say, "Your mom won't let you go," because he, I guess, like, in retrospect, was like, "I don't want you to ruin the weekend even further with your mom," because I was with her for, like, a period of time even after that weekend, and then I had heard one of my friends that, like, I knew through, like, daycare, he was like, "Don't worry, man, we'll see each other soon," and that for some reason just, like, set me off. And I was like, "I hate you guys. I hate you so much." And I went like full blown sob. Now you have to understand, like movies like that was like when my teeth were sunken deepest into movies as like the purest, unrefined form of an escape. When Blockbuster closed down, I was in shambles. That was the year following. Um, so then right after the literal day that I got picked up, 5 or 6 so days later, my parents were like, "We're gonna go visit your grandmother in LA." We start driving about like 75% through the trip, we're taking like different exits, and I knew something was up. They basically surprised me with going to see it at the El Capitan, which was the first time I'd ever gone. Got my the popcorn bucket, they have the outfits and shit, and I remember seeing the movie balcony floor, and I was like, "Oh my fucking god." So that would be one of where the experience kinda shaped it. Very similarly, a situation the year prior with The Dark Knight Rises, my dad surprised me to go see it. I was, like, really indebted to that. And the last one in that category would be the day, funny enough, May of 2013 was when Iron Man 3 came out. July 3rd of 2013, Despicable Me 3 came out. Was with my mom, spent her birthday in San Diego, came back, it was horrendous. Um, it got to a point where I was like, "I'm done." And I called my dad, which was like, "You never do that, that's sacrilege, you have to wait." And I called my dad, I said, "Dad, come pick me up. I don't want this anymore." And they drove, picked me up, and they were right in the logic of, "Okay, we're gonna take our kid to go to a movie because he is distraught by this. Like, this is going to initiate something. This is going to be the first domino that then falls," because I was like, "I'm not going back to see my mom." And we went to go see Despicable Me 2, and this was before reserved seating existed, and I proceeded to count every single person in the line over and over again because the feeling of being in a theater with people shoulder to shoulder before recliners existed, or at least weren't as popular, like, it gave me a sense of comfort, like, a sense of presentness. Um, and then that was, like, I got, like, the fart gun that smelled like bananas, like, I
Mm,
was, like, a minion gladiator from that point on.
mm,
And then I think the one that I will say, which I have shared with you, is a movie where all of it, like I came out of the experience theatrically and I was like, wow, was when we had first gotten around from moving from where we were to where I am now at the theater you work at. And I had first gotten Regal Unlimited, and it was right after my shift working at Chick-fil-A, and it was one of the first few things that I had purchased with my check. And I went to go see a 10:40 showing of David Bruckner's The Night House. And I think that movie is pretty terrific. It's not like one of the best, but it's a very moody, ambient movie. And I remember seeing it at Auditorium 4. And in this foreign theater that I had never gone to, and at the time, you guys had this cotton candy machine that was, like, the most fucked up thing I'd ever seen. It had, like, this jingle, and I came out of it feeling, like, spooked, and it felt good. Like, it felt like, "Okay, this is, like, the first time that I'm feeling a sense of fear that is controlled, that I've felt before, but now in this new established place that I have to get used to living in."
Mm,
Um, so yeah, those would be my answers.
mm.
What about you, Bestie Westie?
My answer is I remember watching Oblivion and coming out being this is boring as fuck.
Really?
Yeah, that's my answer.
Really? Do
That was the first one I was like, this movie's boring as fuck. This movie's lame as hell.
Who'd you see it with?
My grandfather.
Did he like it?
I don't remember.
Do you remember where you saw it? Was it in the theater that
Yeah,
is in the hometown?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was lame as fuck.
Okay.
You shared all the stories with me. I've heard all the stories. You tell me to enjoy yourself.
I do.
Yeah, I remember specifically the counting people in line for
Mhm.
Minions,
Mhm.
and then I remember the Iron. You told me the Iron Man story before. I think like twice. Yeah,
Sorry.
delete the pod. Yeah,
Wow.
Oblivion's boring as fuck. That's mine. I guess I'm trying to think of a positive one. Like one where I was like, oh fuck.
Didn't you see a movie with Stepdad? Was that Justice League?
Gajillion dollars to Israel if you can guess what movie we saw together. I'll give you a hint.
Please do.
I'll give you a hint.
Mhm.
We've for some reason brought this movie up before. No one but me and you remember this movie. No one is thinking of this movie ever. Live action.
Oh. Oh.
Saw it at Chrono Crossings.
Oh. Fuck. Do you remember the year?
No. I don't even know why how you guys are not gonna get it. It's the Gumdrop movie with Adam Sandler.
Oh, bedtime stories. Bet you know what's actually so shocking? That was brought up to me like 3 days ago at work. So and it's always touted as the movie with that gerbil with the big eyes.
Yeah, Joe with the big eyes and the rain that's actually
Yeah,
gumdrops.
yeah. That's
Whatever, dude. I don't like movies.
okay. Well, thank you so much, Kimmy, for messaging us in.
I love you, Kimmy.
I love you. Thank you so much, babe. But let's get really down to business. Let's get real mean. Let's get real dripped out. Because I think we need to traverse and get to where we want to go. Stop slapping yourself. Put your dick away. Put your dick away. And I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous. So we tonight chose, and I will say we're on a bed of lies as we've promised people to answer their questions. We also promised last night that we'd see this movie in 40x, which we did
We
not.
didn't see it for you.
We didn't even see it at all. Have a great night, guys. Links in the bio. um, no, we kind of just. I knew it was gonna be late. I mean, it's right now 1:30 in the morning, but I'm feeling good. As you're on your side, like you're
I work in
pregnant.
7 hours.
Is that true?
It's 8 hours.
Oh, okay. Well,
Eight.
we'll wrap it up. Don't worry. We.
Wait, that was good.
Oh, was it? I didn't even say shit.
You wrap it up.
Oh, like a
Oh, wrong
mummy.
mummy.
Oh, stop it. Um, but yeah. So and I will say this is our no. This is technically our 11th episode.
What? We're this far in?
Actually, no, 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 no. I'm so sorry. This is our 10th episode because we have yet to release the Ryan Gosling episode. Before that, this will be our 10th episode by the time it releases, and I think that's a little beautiful because technically speaking, Lee Cronin has a very fascinating fabric and framework within our relationship.
Why number 10 does that matter?
I don't know. I mean, it's like 9 or 11, like,
Sure,
it
it's a
it's our
multiple.
10th, and I mean, like, it is a bit of a milestone, like sobriety, like, y
Oh fuck.
no, I think
That's
that
Cronin.
actually scared the fuck out of me. Listeners, the door shut, the door rippled. But I think to me, it serves that like we've done this 10 times now, 10 weeks, that's like over 2 months. I think it kind of means something, Like I think it's nice that we actually committed to this versus keeping it in the conceptualization tank and being like, man, we should do this someday.
That's
And then
true.
we never did.
That's
But
true.
also, it made me think about the fact that, like, we've come a long fucking way, dog. Like, we've seen so many movies since we saw Evil Dead Rise back in 2023.
Mhm.
And I think to the core of it all, like, now we're doing a podcast and broadcasting what it is that we feel. But more importantly, the way that we go about discussing art is a lot different. Are you going under the sheets?
No, I'm good.
You're a burrito? Um, And it's just made me go to appreciate the fact that, like, through, I guess, Lee Cronin's filmography and, like, a director making another movie, in between them, we
Through Lee Cronin's filmography.
I mean, from his 2023 outing to his 2026 outing, we've withstood it all, dog, you know? We've
That's
been able
true.
to do it. And I'm deeply appreciative of that? And again, as we always do before we talk about the movies, we give a little plot synopsis. But this one is fairly simple, wherein you follow a family whose daughter had randomly, suddenly, without a trace, vanished. And 8 years later, they get the call that her body has been found, but more importantly, she is alive. And when they bring her home, they realize it is not the same girl that left their home 8 years prior. Maybe some mummification ensues, maybe some maggots are in there, but that's up for you to decide, friends, because we're in the spoiler free version of this, and I want to get spoiled on by you.
Mm.
What did you think of Lee Cronin's The Mummy? Dog,
He
what the fuck is happening?
this can't be the first time he's made a mummy movie.
Huh?
This can't be the first time he's made a mummy movie. He's had to make multiple of them.
Why do you say that?
I don't know what to say about him.
W-
He's
Well, okay, talk to talk.
he's monstrous. He's a monstrous man. Lee Cronin's The Mummy. It it was Lee Cronin's The Mummy. I don't know.
Case closed.
Don't really know.
Case
I mean,
fucking closed.
okay. In all seriousness, there was you. I'm not on Twitter.
No.
You shared with me a couple
Mhm.
weeks back, month back. I guess the script leaked or something, or like the script got shared publicly.
So, actually, that's a very, very good point. There was a few months ago, I don't know if it was a draft of the script. I didn't bother reading it, but it was leaked, and a lot of people then went to lambaste it and say, "God, this looks fucking horrible." That wasn't even the big crack to this all. A few months back, I want to say February or March, a bunch of tweets came out reporting that test screenings were conducted and James Wan walked out of it. Now, it isn't just a horror filmmaker watching a movie and didn't like it and left. His name is attached to the producing
His
credits. His atomic monster dong is literally the gateway to this movie being made. And it's so interesting because, like Lee Cronin hasn't said anything to where people are making smear campaigns about him. He, at this point, was two films, feature films deep. So it was just this odd thing on top of, I think, the marred relationship we have, we being the public hubris of a Mummy franchise, given that, like, Tom Cruise did one with an IMAX trailer that had no music and shit. Exactly. And that is a shit show in and of itself. And so I think to me, and I will we'll jump to your thoughts, that along with like his name just being Lee Cronin's The Mummy, it was basically like, here's the cinder block cement shoes, go into the ocean.
Yeah, I don't really. Why do they keep trying to make mummy movies? Like, who's this for? Who's who's like, oh, they're making another mummy.
Well, okay, I will say in the defense of The Mummy, right? In the defense of it all, the last one with Brendan Fraser came out in, like, 2009 or 10, and then it hadn't been touched until 2017, and then again now in 2026. So I guess in the grand scheme of, like, remakes and shit, why? I'm not too sure, because, like, when it comes down to it, like, if we look at, like, vampires, zombies are far more popular, far more diverse, but, like, mummies, there really isn't anything, so
And Russell Crowe is. Dr. Jekyll and Hyde.
That is 100% right. That's actually so fucked up. I didn't even remember that.
Oh,
And like Steve Buscemi plays the lizard.
I thought he was the wolf. Or was that
No,
Hotel Transylvania?
that was Hotel Transylvania.
Um,
Come on now. But talk to me. What did you think of Lee Cronin's The Mummy?
I'm
Because
I'm scared.
what are you scared about? It's not
I'm
like he's gonna
scared.
appear. Dog, I don't know what the mic's gonna sound like when you hotbox it with your farts, dude.
What did you think of the mummy?
No, motherfucker. No. Just because you're tired and you have work in the morning.
No, I'm not even tired. It's just he, he's just such a monstrous
Okay,
guy.
you're saying monster, big dick, slimy, bulging.
The script was leaked. There was like a huge like kill
Mm-hmm.
him, burn him with fire.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing the movie, the 2 hour and
I
17
think that is 17 or 14, one of those.
Ja- James Bond probably walked out because he was seeing too much gas, too much fire on the screen. um, I enjoyed my time with this film. I think, as someone who enjoyed Evil Dead Rise enough, I think this is a step in the right direction, but also not really because it very much felt like an Evil Dead movie, which cool, I guess, like, do Evil Dead in a different font, which is The Mummy, especially towards that 3rd act where it does start feeling a bit more like, okay, like,
Mm-hmm.
you made one feature, dude, you're really gonna do it over again. At the same time, though, um, I think that The Mummy is such an uninteresting IP that even, adding some Raimi-isms to the whole mix, I don't mind it. Um,
Okay.
but that being said, I enjoyed my time with this film. I think there's a lot to really appreciate about it. I think it's very funny. I think it's such an extremely stupid movie. Does not have any right being this long, and I will say it's a very much a mixed bag from a screenplay avenue. I think seeing it in action would not make me as, like, vitriolically hate the script as I think people once were. I think this movie is a bit tongue in cheek, kind of like an Evil Dead film, which I think Lee
Mm-hmm.
Cronin knows about.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, however, there is just certain things that I think aren't super well done from a screenplay perspective.
Okay.
However, is anyone here for Lee Cronin's The Mummy for a script that Lee Cronin didn't write? Hell no, they're here for I believe, a minimum of 22 split diopter shots that we got during this film.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I know we're in the non-spoiler territory,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I mean, I think for us horror fans, this year has been such a fascinating one. We're kind of getting every avenue of what you could want as a horror fan. There's something being given to you, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that this is for just the schlop fans. I think at the end of the day, we're all piggies. We all want to eat from the trough.
Okay.
Sometimes we drown in the trough. Sometimes we eat too much and we explode. This is for the schlop heads. This is for those who want to get down and dirty in their spaghettios, eat face first, and you come out and you're either spelling out something beautiful or something hateful. But regardless, like it's schlop, and I love schlop. You love schlop. There's some things that about it aren't slop like, but there's a lot about it that is slop like. So I eat the slop.
What
I,
the fuck are you saying, dude? What the actual fuck are
they'll
you
know.
saying?
They'll know. They'll know.
So, okay, what I'm denoting from this, you liked it, the script was inconsistent, you enjoyed it a bit more than Evil Dead
I don't
Rise?
know. I have to revisit that movie. I think we both have to revisit that movie.
Do we though? Why?
From memory, I think I can't really think as to why it didn't hit as hard as it should have, because I think about that movie only about positive things. There's nothing about that movie that I even remotely think of as dry or negative. I remember it being super well shot. I remember it being super effective, what it was trying to do. Some really cool concepts, really cool elements of horror, some very
Yeah.
strong performances, very strong 3rd act. Granted, will it ever surpass, like, the bloodbath of the 2013 remake? Of course not. However, when I think about it, I really am shocked at how. I mean, I give it a 3.5 out of 5, but
Mhm.
nonetheless, I feel like where it sits in my brain, I feel like it should be a bit higher than that. With
Mm.
this, I can already see in my brain there's a lot more flaws than Evil Dead Rise, but I guess at the same time, maybe more highs.
Mhm.
Obviously, I want to give you room to talk, but I will, like, say, like, I do think this movie looks crazy. I think it's, like,
Mhm,
shot by, like, a fucking madman who was given too big of a budget, and, yeah, some of it, like, the CGI isn't, like, the best, like, there's an animal, many an animal in this movie that just looks dumb and bad and stupid,
hmm,
but on the contrary, I'm kind of a sucker for, like, the focus, the deep focus that they're doing with some of the camera angles, and
mhm.
I like the fact that he gets, like, using this crazy lens that gets so close up to the characters' faces, and it's cool, like, there's some really cool things going on visually and, like, from an edit standpoint that I think is an improvement upon Evil Dead Rise, but at the same time, like, we'll talk about Jack Renner, but
Okay.
Jack Renner? Reiner?
Raynor, yeah,
Reiner?
Raynor. I think it's Reynor, yeah.
We didn't have a conversation about that guy.
Okay, well, I guess, for me, like, there's a lot of things that, like, when it comes to movie going or just the discussion of film, especially as I've really, like, sunk my teeth into content creation, people are like, "You're a glazer," or, like, me writing to the moon. But one thing I do think, like, I will always appreciate about myself is there will always be something for the most part that I will look forward to about a movie. And as it gets closer, it has been with every single movie that I've seen, barring some stuff that I've gone begrudgingly to, or I just saw it more for curiosity. But every single film I can at least say that I've seen with you, the day of, I get excited about it. Like, I start thinking about, like, the things that I really look forward to about that movie, and I sort of personify that, and I just envelop it in the space that I'm in, so then when I watch it, I feel at its most at myself most primed to enjoy it. With something like this, I talked on the other episode about how, like, I was thinking about Evil Dead Rise, and what I will say is I think that movie's good, but, like, I think it's actually quite good. No, I definitely think it's actually quite good. I think the best part, funny enough, is the performances, but it just doesn't really go hard enough. Like, in my opinion, everybody talks about that cheese grater scene, doesn't go hard enough. Like, I think it's cute, I think it's fun, I like the change of location to being, like, in this apartment complex. Um, I think I forget what her name is, something Sullivan, she's terrific in the film, everyone is. Um, I just don't think that movie goes hard enough, and again, I'm not saying you gotta do it Terrifier-wise, but if you're going to be an Evil Dead film, that is the basic plot and, like, the driving force of your film is blood. Um, so when it came to this, I was excited, but I will honestly say that, like, if I'm being, like, totally real, I thought it was fucking great. I think, you talk about, like, the flaws, and I will say Lee Cronin did write this movie. He wrote and
Aw.
directed this.
Aw.
Um And I was very curious to see, like, the why behind it because, I don't wanna chalk it up to being like, "Oh, what the fuck can I just choose?" And, "Oh, no one's doing a mummy thing, so let me do it." And so he basically talked about how when in the interview I saw where Dead Meat James and his wife interviewed him, he was basically talking about how in college, he, funny enough, did nothing but, like, comedies that he had and, like, what's the thing that I could push the most with? And he used the analogy of, like, if I'm gonna be a clown, I'm gonna be the funniest motherfucker in the room. And he said after Evil Dead, he just wanted to go more intense. He had a lot more gas in the tank to keep going. And so I think, like, when I was coming into this, I was like, "Okay, what win me over by just giving me more of your vision and just let me have a good time." And what I will say is I think, like, on about, like, every level, I think, to me at least, it improves with what Evil Dead Rise does, which I think is quite good. And it's funny because I think we're gonna disagree about one thing for sure, but no, I think, like, visually and technically, it is just a far superior movie. I think this movie looks terrific at every single point. I think the way that he is and again, we saw it in a very great opportune experience, and I'm glad we chose RPX over 40X. I think what he does with sound and the way in which he frames scenes and sets the camera, it sounds very different than if you're closer to someone where people wanna keep a sense of continuity, he does maximize for the sake of atmosphere maximization, and I fucked heavy with that. I think on a visual level, this movie looks sick as shit. Like, on a continual basis, I was, kind of floored. I was like, "This looks lush," but it's detailed. The sound, the crunch, the feeling of this movie, I just was very much intoxicated by. But when it is said and done, like this is a story about a family who lost something and or lost someone, and they get that brought back to them. And while I won't like praise the movie for something that it isn't, which it isn't this deep pondering of a family and the schism with it. And shit, man, I won't even fucking argue with you. Like, did not need to be 2 hours and 14 minutes.
Things are
There
crazy,
is
man.
shit going on that involves like trying to decipher the true whereabouts or the origin of what happened to their daughter Katie. And it does ring a little bit too long. Don't get me wrong. However, I think this movie gets very fucking nasty with it. And to like a point where, like with Terrifier, for example, like that is the gateway into it, right? That is the thing that like no real studio acquires it until after it is finished because then they don't really need to do the work other than just promote it. Whereas with this, especially with Blumhouse, with the name that they have kind of procured over the past few years, I think like if anyone were to say that like Evil Dead Rise feels like a nastier movie, you're dead fucking stupid. There is a particular thing that this movie does at a moment that I will just say involves like a corpse that like made me like gag. And that hasn't happened in a hot minute. And I'm not saying to go in this like you would go into a Jackass movie looking for some dumb or like some shock value. I think this movie is quite effective. The person who plays Katie, I think it's two different actors. I'm could be mistaken. The girl who plays Katie before she gets taken,
Oh, for sure, yeah.
um, both of them are terrific. And barring, well, I'll just say that I really fucked with this movie. I really fucked with me. I do think. Could we go into spoilers now?
Yeah, I don't mind.
There's one really bad performance in this movie. It's not Jack Rayner. I think it's the older son.
Yeah.
I, but I'm fucking with just about everything Jack Rayner is doing in this movie.
I think here's the thing.
Okay.
I don't know. He kind of is the epitome of this movie's tone, where I think in
Okay.
the dramatic moments he's able to hit it on the nose, but maybe it's the way he's written or his eyes. He's not a smart dude. I don't want the movie to pretend that he's a smart dude. He's not giving me smart vibes at all. They seem like this reporter, archaeologist type who does research and stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
he is not giving me that at all, which is
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
He's a dumb guy. He looks dumb. That's fine. There like just the way this movie frames his reaction to certain
Oh, sure.
things
Yeah.
is sometimes effective, sometimes it's laugh out loud worthy. And I don't know if it's because just his immediate reaction is to let's see how wide I can make my eyes for this particular frame.
It
And it's
fucking
fun.
it hits, dude.
It's fun, but at the same time, like it is distracting a lot of the time. I'm like,
Oh,
what is he doing? Like why? Like, and I don't know if it's a performance issue, if it's a direction issue, or maybe it's just the dude has big eyes. Maybe that's just what it boils down to.
mm-hmm.
Because there is that scene where they're reacting to like the home video,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I think he's very good in that scene. And like he's kind of left like shell shocked. He's like tears
Mm-hmm.
coming. I'm like, okay, like
Mm-hmm.
you're doing well here. Like I'm fucking with what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but at the same time, just like the way he like runs up the stairs towards the door, and he's
Mm-hmm.
kind of just like this big husk of a dude,
Mm-hmm.
and like he just is staring off like so blankly and bluntly. Like I don't know, like I don't really know if it's just a facial thing or if a performance thing, but
Mm-hmm.
I would be a liar if I didn't say like it was distracting, but
Okay.
like not in a way that was like this is atrocious, but it was more so like this is just kind of funny.
Sure. And I think like to me what I love so much about it is like I don't think the movie is trying to say that he is like stupid, but I do think that the movie sort of posits him as someone who wants to use this as an opportunity to like investigate versus actually interrogate like what he's feeling. And I think like at every point like it is him trying to like the moment that there is something he goes straight to like the investigative aspect of himself. Again, like I'm not trying to say that there is a moment where they have this come to Jesus moment, but I do think like it is effective enough to where like he worked so well for me in this. Like he was Jamie in Midsommar, the boyfriend. I forget what his name is.
Jamie? No, it's not Jamie.
Is it not?
No, you can keep you can go there. I'll look it up.
Please. He does exactly what he did in that
Christian.
movie. Christian, thank you. Danny and Christian, that's right. Um, he does exactly what he did in that movie in this, but in a very like older role performance. And I, for some reason, and maybe it's because the drought of people that aren't what he is doing, I could not get enough of it. It is again, you're like his big fat fucking eyes opened wide and like he is trying to compartmentalize and process everything all at once. And I think for me, why this movie fucks so hard for me. Why?
Sorry, I'm just thinking of the scene where he's just watching her flow. And he's just
Dude,
he's just like
yeah, no,
he's just like just staring at her.
he's and again, like I would be curious. I think like at its worst, it does make me like a little curious about like was this the movie that was intended? And with that in mind, am I creating a false narrative that like this movie was hacked and butchered in the edit because of like interference or test screenings that went so poorly? I don't know. Like right now, it has like a 55% on it or something. Like it's like it's not like a dumpster fire, you know. A
Sure.
lot of people are disappointed with it. Quite a few people are fucking with it. But like I just really fucking got on the rhythm with this movie where just it looked continually engaging, a far better step up from Evil Dead Rise, which I did still think was a pretty good looking movie. Um, that is willing to get mean. The thing that I couldn't say I like that shit fucking like sickened me when you see the grandmother's pulse and it is like embalming fluid that is coming out of her neck.
Oh,
Like that to me is just like on a conceptual level, just something that felt so grotesque to me and was just like done a little extra so by having her pulse. Like it was fucking gross, but it's at the same time that like this movie doesn't feel like it is trying to go the cheapened route when it comes to visually executing the moments had. And like where I think it could have, Lee Cronin continually like proves to me, no, he's got the juice. And don't get me wrong, I do think like on a narrative level, yeah, this is just like another possession movie where especially then like the different members of the family are getting like possessed as they are by like this not the Cenobites some something
yeah.
the way that like the Evil Dead kind of does it away but like I guess when it's said and done it worked more for me than Evil Dead Rise did and if it means that I look at it as like a spiritual Evil Dead film because it's also like the Mummy is not like this iconography, you know? So it's not like it is doing a disservice to the Mummy universe. So it's like I don't have any real bone saying that, like, you know, it feels very much like an Evil Dead film, and it worked for me in that regard too.
That's true. I guess just like my bigger question is like we always like to talk about after the debut where a filmmaker is going to go and like how they're going to expand upon the style that they've found worked well for them in their debut, but
Yeah.
obviously like expand upon it. And although like I can agree in a lot of aspects of it's technically better and like the look and the edit in some degrees,
Hmm.
at the same time it's like, does this feel like a step up enough as a filmmaker to really make me interested in your next project?
Oh, you
Like
don't think so?
I just think that it's too similar to what he was doing
You
previously.
think so? Really?
Yeah, I mean, you have, like, the dead grandma being like, "Come feast on this," or, like,
Yeah,
it will
but like
come
on
on
a direct like on a again, I will agree with you that like as a writer, he should maybe take a back seat. Don't disagree with you. But like on a visual level, this shit is like the amount of like close-ups and how gross it gets, like that was not really there with Evil Dead. Like a lot of it was just shot in like mediums. Again, it looked good. And what I will say is this movie is lit very, very well. Again, my greatest pro that I can give that movie is I thought it was lit very, very well but I thought like it definitely felt like a different film on a visual level to me for sure.
maybe a visual, maybe just environment, because I think that Evil Dead Rise kind of handicapped itself by, like, it being set in one apartment during a rainy season where, like, it's completely dark majority of the time. There
Okay.
wasn't much variety to work with there. I guess just more so, like, the source material, when you're choosing to write your source material and then
Mhm.
proceed to direct your source material.
Mhm.
And both times you're doing possession films that's very family oriented, and you
Mhm.
kind of have a very similar tone going on. It doesn't really excite me. Like, yeah, like I'm not gonna sit here and say like he didn't improve from like a actual technical basis, but like the ideas that you have to come to the table with, like, are
Okay.
you just gonna come back with it? Like, because I guess the difference between like, let's take for example Parker Finn
Mhm.
for Smile One, Smile Two.
Mhm.
Obviously, this is not Evil Dead Rise 1, Evil Dead Rise 2. My
Mhm.
point in saying that, though, is I think what makes Parker Finn an interesting director to me now that he's made Smile 2 is the fact that it was such a huge leap in quality in terms of every single
But you haven't
aspect.
seen Spawn 1.
Sure, but I've seen enough of it, like, because 'cause I've seen it in spurts to
Okay.
know that, like, just in every aspect, like, it
Uh-huh.
just he got more interesting. And
Uh-huh.
I guess just maybe because it's not a mediocre film to a great film, but in
Yeah.
my mind, it's a good film to another good film. I guess
Mhm.
just because both are so similar in source material,
Mhm.
and like in vibe and just like kind of like reactionary body horror. I don't know. And what I will also say is I don't really think he's interesting because when I think about okay, like is he a good horror director, I think he is, but
Uh-huh.
he's not very good at making things scary. This is the second horror film where I haven't really been scared by his films, but more so just ready for a reaction out of myself.
What do you
Um,
mean by that?
like I don't think this movie's scary.
No, but, like, ready for a reaction out of
I guess
yourself, what does
like
that
okay,
mean?
like you know the difference between like being startled or being scared, right? Like a
Uh-huh.
jump scare startles you, it doesn't scare you,
Uh-huh.
right? Unless you can create the tension and the release and
Uh-huh.
whatever.
Uh-huh.
I am just curious to see like I guess maybe not. Let's take this away from Lee Cronin for a second. Do you think a talented horror director has to also be able to scare you, or do you think that if they're able just to make an entertaining horror film?
Well, yeah, 100%, because, like, again, you're under the banner of horror because that is just the way that our brain works, and that's the way that that's the genre you're operating in, but the umbrella is so big. I don't watch a horror movie and, like, there's plenty that, like, don't scare me, but
Sure,
it's, like, under that banner, like, Return to Silent Hill, for example, that's a horror movie,
sure.
wasn't an ounce scared, but I was invested because, like, that's, like, what they were doing, I was able not to say that I don't think you are, but, like, I met and I was, like, again, he is 2 films in well, technically 3, but we'll never watch the fuck ass first movie he made,
Mhm.
and I think he has a great knack and an interest in getting the senses in tune with how to visually disturb or just to make something be gross, and that, like, worked for me at both times, and especially in this, like, I again, like, I would have to look, but the last time, like, I've winced out of being, like, grossed, I can't, like, there was shit in this I was like, "Jesus, ew, like, this is fucking gross," you know?
Sure,
Um, and I'm not gonna I won't disagree, like, if you were looking to be scared and you weren't, sure, but, like, I don't think that's, like, Lee Cronin's thing, like, he seems like a James Wan in the realm of, like, I just want and again, he said, like, "I just wanna give someone a fun, engaging experience that will unsettle them or make them just feel gross, give them a reason to go to the movies."
yeah,
And I got that.
true. And I can't discredit the guy. He's very good at making things disturbing and very much like I think there's a lot of stuff with kids in this movie, not, like, too extreme, like a Funny Games or anything like of that matter,
Sure,
but
sure.
to the same, like or to the same some extent, like,
Mhm.
there is a lot of, like, punches being thrown that I feel like a lot of other horror filmmakers who are kind of earlier in their career wouldn't pull or wouldn't throw because they're just
Yeah.
not wanting to shake up the audience like that, but, no, he's a very talented dude. I think this film is also very interesting because, like, there is this aspect of, okay, like, the process of being a mummy and, being wrapped and they're not actually dead, they're comatose, whatever, yada,
Mhm,
yada, like,
mhm,
that grief, not actually losing them, but feeling like they've lost now they've appeared back in your life,
mhm,
and there's obviously, like, that push and pull of,
mhm,
well, we've moved on, but have we actually?
mhm.
I don't think it was what he wanted to do to kinda communicate that sort of,
Okay.
like,
Yeah,
very drama-filled,
yeah.
like, internal struggle that this father and mother is experiencing.
Mhm.
The ending kinda gives me the implication that's what it also was going for at the same time. I I say that to say I do wonder if there was a longer version of this film that was at test screenings that
Mm,
ended up getting chopped down because the ending is very much putting this reliance on our main father character
yeah.
who, hugs his daughter, basically holding her down
Mhm.
as he's like basically dying and like
Yeah.
taking it from her.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting concept. I think it's a very effective visual image. And it's a very effective ending. But
Mhm.
then I question, is the movie at all even moving in that lane? At least in an effective manner. I don't think
Sure.
the movie really has any time put into him as a father.
Mhm.
And like I said, like I kind of said this during our Faces of Death video, where like motivations don't really bother me in a horror film, but
Mhm.
I am the more we watch, the more I see things that from a script and a screenwriting level where like things are only happening just to escalate the plot, like characters' motivations, like they're only doing certain things to
Mhm.
create an argument or it doesn't make sense or yada yada yada. There's a lot of that in this film, and I feel like it almost takes away from these characters because it makes them into a bit of a trope or a bit of two
Mhm.
when you get to point A to point B. So I don't know. I wonder if there's like a 3 hour cut or fuck a 2.5 hour cut of this
Maybe.
movie that exists that is a bit more focused on the emotional side rather than like the investigative side, which
Mhm.
is very apparent in this cut.
Mhm.
Um, the actual ending is fun, but like I don't like it. I don't think
Mhm.
I like the whole he's actually a mummy and they bring him to the old lady
Mhm.
and he gives her the curse now.
Mhm.
Just kind of seemed pointless to me. Is it like I don't I did you like it? What was your
I wasn't mind I didn't I wasn't bothered by it. I think it's just because, like, I don't think the movie is wanting to dig deep into that realm of going the path of, let's really see and, like, fester, or let's extrapolate, like, what the implications of the daughter being taken on the father's watch. Like, there is the dialogue that is had that I thought was enough for me that worked, but, like, the movie from, like, the point of her being taken up until, like, shit starts really hitting the fan, there was never really, like, a point where the movie wanted to go into that course, or enough to where then I was like, "Man, I feel like where this film is going feels very reshoot heavy," or truly, like, Lee Cronin was aimless in that regard where he wanted to do it, but then, like, couldn't commit enough to it. I was enjoying the time so thoroughly on a visual, engaging level, and I thought the movie just invested me. I thought the girl who played Katie as this mummified version and all the things technically were working so succinctly that I was like, no, I'm just really fucking with this movie. And again, like, I fucked with Jack Rayner in the movie, and there is moments that like require things from them that I thought worked quite well. Um, and yeah, like I again, like I bet, like in terms of like flaws, like yeah, sure, no, I won't disagree with you that like it could have. For me, I was actually really interested, and it sucks that, like, because I also thought, like, the before Kitty's taken, that performer, she's great. The daughter, while the mom was pregnant, she's also really good in the movie. It's just the older son that I'm not really fucking with, and maybe that also hits too because, like, that was an angle that I was actually kinda most interested in, was like, "Oh, okay, what if they go about it with, like, how does this brother reckon with his sister being brought back? Because he was a kid when she was taken and is still is sort of a kid now, so doesn't have the adult orientation to, like, process this in as healthy of a way." They don't really do anything with that at all, but, like, again, I really don't think, like, Lee Cronin is digging the shovel that deep or in that, like, realm, and I don't think he was with Evil Dead Rise, and it was enough for me to, I guess, at the end of the day, which sounds very, like, that should be the case no matter what, but a lot of the times it isn't. I bought it enough to then have it be effective on a horror level or a shock level the same way I do with this, difference being technically, I think he is just operating on so much better and superior of a level. And
Mm,
I personally, like, again, I say it's a little too long. There was never a point in the movie where I was like, "Oh, I'm feeling the runtime of this." And I think again, I just think this movie looks like really great. Like I just was like shocked continually, like, God damn, this movie looks really fucking good. And then whenever it started to be like, okay, where are we going? It gets to a point where I'm like, damn, this motherfucker, like, he's gross. Like, I'm really fucking with this. But yeah, um, I dug the shit out of it, and I waited to bring up that thing. Shout out our homie Austin. We're talking. I wonder if they enjoyed it. And I said, I think he would because we were both so disappointed with Faces of Death. And it wasn't even like I was putting all my eggs in the basket of The Mummy, but like I wanted Faces of Death to work and it felt like an alley-oop to work given the subject matter and it failed at that. And this just like brought me back into being like, nah, we're fucking cooking. And like when it's said and done, already like looking and thinking about like my film or the films of this year, like I'd still put an Iron Lung, a Bone Temple like above it, but like I could say, like, I nearly, like, loved almost everything about this movie.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot to pull from that I wouldn't mind revisiting this, like, in the future for sure. I think that there's a lot to grab onto and really love about this film,
Mhm,
and especially its intentions. I do wish that there were some things changed, some things chopped, some things added. I feel like we are on the cusp of a version of this film that I think is just aces, and,
mhm,
I can say it's, like, one of, like, the bona fide best horror of the decade, but
mhm.
as it stands, I think it's just a good time that I think if you are able to go see in a theater, please do because sounds great, looks
It
great.
does, it does.
Just a fun time. I feel like it'll be a very fun like theater movie with a packed crowd. People are gonna be like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
toenails and shit!" Like that's awesome. So,
So you give what, like, a 3 or 3.5?
I think I would give it a 3.5 because I think I'd be willing to revisit it more so than Evil Dead Rise,
Okay,
but I don't think I can, in good faith, give it anything higher than that.
okay. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, and again, like, I assume, and based off of what you said, like, didn't really feel much emotionally, and again, maybe, like, I would like to revisit this because I do think, like, I'm not trying to disservice Lee Cronin as a screenwriter for being like writing something really bad because I was like I don't want to say I was moved. I think right now I'm just kind of taking my thoughts and I'm like I'm intrigued to rewatch this because again like with like what he's doing with like the father character in this movie, I think like he is willing to really withhold there not being any sense of clarity in a conversation had or the feelings because he's just nothing but investigations or investigative. And that like the line he gives at the very end where he like looks to his wife and says, like, I'm sorry, I'm like, no, I do like I thought that works. And again, like you bring up, does the ending therefore then work? I'm not saying that it doesn't, but I just again, I had a blast with this. Like I fucked like pretty heavily with this movie, and I'm for one, I'm at least really interested because I do think like he has it down on a technical level. And again, like if we can give Sam Raimi the pass for doing Evil Dead and then doing the same thing but better with Evil Dead 2, and like I would even say like a Parker Finn with a Smile 1, which isn't good, but then Smile 2, which is meaner. I'm very willing and open to see what the fuck this guy does next. And it's sad because I do think that like Evil Dead is a well-received movie critically, but it also has this weird thing because I think the fan base loves the gore, and that is like the least gory or the least effective. Where like even if it's more gory than one, people look at one and like, oh no, that's Sam Raimi, that's where it started. But they look at it like very frowned on, especially in like retrospect. And I'm not gonna say that they're wrong, but, like, this I don't think is going to do a lot of people those favors, and it does a little bit bum me out because I do think Lee Cronin has a lot to say on a visual level. Um, so I am very interested to see what the fuck he cooks up next. I mean, anyone that's willing to go as hard in the paint and really commit to, like, split diopters, but also just, like, crazy inserts, and it just is so gross. Like, this movie really has some moments that are, like, fucking repugnant.
That's true.
But I'm interested. I'm very, very interested.
Thank you for making movies, Lee Cronin. I
Mm,
appreciate it, and I do hope that your next one you also call Lee Cronin's because that's like, I mean, that's awesome.
what would he remake that you would actually be interested in?
Lee Cronin's Skinamarink.
Okay. I mean, what would like if is there a property that would be like, "Oh man, you know what, Lee? I don't
Well,
know."
if Fede Alvarez can do like an alien movie, I feel like it's kind of these Evil Dead directors can really
The pipeline.
there's
Yeah,
a lot
because
of variety.
I don't I originally, it was the When Evil Lurks director being tapped to do the next Alien, which, like, made no goddamn fucking sense to me.
Interesting.
Because the whole thing was people thought that Alvarez was going to direct the next one, but
And
he's
then it's the Spanish guy doing Evil Dead Burns, right?
no, okay. It is crazy because there is the 2. There's Evil Dead Burn, and then they're in production shooting at this moment Wrath. And Wrath is directed by the guy who did Last Stop at Yuma County. Um, what?
What?
Yeah, so there's two Evil Dead movies. One that people were saying the trailer was going to show for The Mummy. It didn't, at least in our screening. That is directed by this fuck named Sebastian Vanik, who directed Ver Infested. It's like a 2023 film, got mediocre reviews. There's like the cast is next to nobody I know. Shot by a cinematographer who's made movies that I've never seen, so I'm interested. Um,
What the fuck?
no, literally. And then the next one, the 2028 Evil Dead Wrath, Francis Gillespie, which has
Shot by Satan?
literally, yeah. Again, like just like a small grouping of people, but like they both direct and write their films. But Sam Raimi basically said like which is so odd. He said that Evil Dead Wrath is like the most bloody film he's ever seen in his life, and I'm like, that's a little odd for you to say. Like this new one hasn't even come out, and you're already like gassing up the other one.
It's like, guys, Bone Temple 3, we need it.
No, exactly, exact. And Bone Temple hadn't even come out, but I'm very fascinated because I still haven't seen like Evil Dead 2 or 3, and I own all of the original. I own all of them except for Rise. And I would love to see what like just different takes on Evil Dead. The plot of like the new Evil Dead doesn't sound very, it just sounds, no one really goes to Evil Dead for like the plot. Like people like hope it's good, but like
No, they're there for
blood and carnage
blood.
and gore,
Undressing your sibling. They're there for
fire.
undressing your
Yeah,
sibling.
but I'm interested and I fuck with this. Like I would love to tap back in. Go let us know what you thought, friends. Comment down below. Um and as always, just follow us on our socials. The links are in the bio. You guys are awesome. You guys are the goats. Tune in next time. Do you have any last words, friend?
Our next episode is gonna be our best one yet.
I think you said that 5 episodes now. And this episode, like I had to reel you back in. You're
And
about
I'm
to
trying to
fall
think what
asleep.
even our idea is for our next episode.
We have a couple. There's like one and a half that I have in the
Oh
in
shit.
the in the thought
It's
bank.
the Peter Burke one.
The Peter, oh, all just the email where we have him on the pod.
If someone's reading this, if someone's watching this,
Reading
if someone's watching this and reading this, email us in on what director you want us to cover. Any suggestions?
literally. And if you are related to a filmmaker, have us interview them, but make sure you don't tell us who it is.
So we had to
So we're like, what did you make? Really? Get out of here. That's awesome.
we score a chance with Martin Scorsese, and I'm over here like twiddling my thumbs, bonnet on my hair, wrapped in my blankets.
So what was it like filming with motion capture work making giants in the BFG?
This is all guys.
Anyway, friends, have a great rest of your evening, day, or afternoon.
Love you guys.
I
Thank
love you
you.
so much. Have a great one. Peace.